Yes, I can hear you just fine.
That's brilliant, John. There you are. I can see you as well, Jonathan. Listen, that crash we just saw, did you have 3 riders down there?
No, I think we had all 8 actually. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we pretty much crashed as a team there. I don't really know what happened, but everyone's up and okay. We had to change Trent Lowe's bike, but that was about it. I mean, you know, the guys are sticking so closely together all around Christian, so if something happens in front of them, they pretty much all go down at once.
Now, it was both sides of the road the crash, Jonathan, occurred. What was on the road? Was there an oil spillage, or what happened?
Well, it was just a little bit wet. It was, it's Italy, and there's always a lot of oil on the road, and it had just been raining, and we came around a roundabout, and, it's just too slick, so, that's what happened.
Hello.
Now, listen, Jonathan, what's the plan for Christian van der Velde? He's obviously up and running. We heard Matt say get some riders around him. Have you got any hope today that he might be able to reclaim those 38 seconds and take yellow?
Well, I mean, I think Cadel's a pretty tough rival, but, we just don't know until we hit the climb and we see how Christian feels and then go from there. I mean, obviously, our team tactic is just to protect him the best that we possibly can until the base of the climb, and then at that point in time, it's going to be up to him to either feel the legs to try to attack Cadel or just hold steady for the day.
Now, on that climb, we've interviewed and spoken to Christian. He seems to be a natural-born leader for the team. He's extremely confident now. Where does he see his race going through the Alps?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we're really just taking it day by day because, this is really unexplored territory, for our team and for Christian. I mean, we've never ridden the Tour de France before, and Christian has never ridden the Tour de France as a leader before. So, we're just trying to get through today. When we get to the Alps, then we'll see, where he is. I mean, obviously, if we can get through the Alps, with no problems and maybe even claim back a little bit of time. I mean, I obviously really, I've got some pretty high hopes for Christian in that final time trial, but I want to get through today first, and then we'll start thinking about the Alps.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the man in the lead there. This is also part of a plan today to get a man in the breakaway. It's the winning breakaway. What can we expect from Danny? He looks a bit tired at the moment, Jonathan.
Yeah, Danny kind of always looks tired, and he kind of, I've never heard Danny say "I feel good" ever in his entire life. So, we'll see. I don't know. I think it's great that he's out there, but, the 3 guys he's with, they're all really good climbers. So, we couldn't ask for a better breakaway as far as getting it all the way to the finish, but it's going to be tough to outclimb, the likes of Igor Martinez on that last hill.
Brilliant. Jonathan, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of the race. And by the way, it's a lovely day on the top here, and there is a huge crowd all the way to the finishing line. We'll see you shortly.
Bidons.
All right, thanks, Phil.
Jonathan Vaughters there with Matt White, who's driving the car and talking to everybody in the race at the same time. Just look at the crowd on the flats, never mind on the mountain to come. And they're getting nowhere near this breakaway. Danny Pate, I laughed there when Jonathan said he always looks tired, because he's certainly riding well there. It's the 3rd category climb about to start, 1.7 kilometres, a little hors d'oeuvre before we get to the monster round the corner. And Simon Guerin's at it with a rush here. This is the hors d'oeuvre, Paul, as our cameras shoot up and look out. I'm not sure, I don't think that is where we're sitting, because looking out my window I can't see the cloud bank around it. But that certainly is in the area of where the riders will eventually go today. We just started the 3rd category climb.
The Colla del Morte, which is where the 4 leaders are, but certainly you can see we're heading right into the clouds. We're not too far away from where the cloud cover is. The cloud is actually up above us. The riders of the main field going through that town there of San Lorenzo, and they are at 38 kilometers to go, Phil, while these guys are still almost 10 kilometers up the road. Danny Pate, I'm not sure what the team management would say to him in a situation like this, but I would think from the top of this climb to the finish climb, he now needs to start to think about trying to conserve a little bit of energy.
Well, Jonathan Vaughters has said that Danny Pate always looks tired, so he never takes any solace about how he looks. He just doesn't know. He knows he's up against 3 climbers, and this is their terrain. and it's because of these 3 climbers that they've kept such a big lead today. Now it's up to Danny. He's not showing signs of weakness right now, is he?
No, not at all. You can never take away from the fact that the young man there in the middle in the blue and white jersey from Team Garmin Chipotle, Phil, has been a world champion. The world champion at the under-23 level of the sport, but still, you've got to be a top man to win a world title. And he's got the pride to try and pull himself inside out to stay in contact with these riders. But as you say, the 3 other riders, Gerrans on the front, José Luis Arrieta in second, and Egoy Martinez in third. They are really seriously good climbers, Phil.
They are, and I know that all of Australia will root for Simon Gerrans. He's a very nice guy, and he's won all of Australia's big races, but he's never won a stage of the Tour de France. And he's got his shot today because the whole team that Gerrans rides for, Crédit Agricole, a French setup, has been built around Thor Hushovd to win the green sprinters jersey. Well, Thor's, I think, lost that jersey. He slipped too far down. So now there might be a consolation prize on the way for them today.
Well, so far over the last 10 minutes or so of the race, the workload really, Phil, has been pretty much equally shared. Egoy Martinez 24%, Gerrans 25%. Danny Pate a fraction less at 23%, but you can't really complain too much, I don't think, about that.
No, he's the least experienced. Cool pedaling here from Egoy Martinez. The Basque team rather let the side down in front of their Spanish supporters when we were in the Pyrenees, so maybe they'll go to the chagrin of the Italian supporters here, as the Spanish in the breakaway looking very strong at the moment, these two.
A little funny, a little earlier on, I just noticed Serge Boucherie in the team car of Crédit Agricole with a splint on his arm. He's actually broken his wrist in an accident. I'm not sure exactly how the accident happened, but there was a message on the splint which said, "Cherchons sponsor avec urgence." And that's another thing that we need to remember about Simon Gerrans. He needs to look for the victory here this afternoon, because in fact Crédit Agricole, at the end of this year, their sponsorship ends, and they're currently still in negotiations to try and bring a new sponsor on board.
Yes, Roger has promised to reply by the 1st of August on that issue. Some people think he's got one and saying nothing, but we don't know. These are the 4 riders on the Col del Mort. 14 minutes 23. I'll take my hat off to them. They've lost nothing of the lead here, and the field were really chasing. They've made nil impression on that breakaway. Another roundabout. I begin to fear every time I look at this picture. Now I expect to see 2 piles of riders lying in the road.
Well, every time I see a roundabout like that, I think we've just switched back to a replay, and I'm waiting to see the riders fall down again. There's Jaroslav Popovic in the dark glasses there for Team Silence Lotto. He's a real experienced bike rider. You know, he's a man that many people felt that one day he could win the Tour de France or even the Giro d'Italia. He's been bought into Silence Lotto for only one thing, and that's this month, and that's to look after Cadel Evans on especially days like today, on the final climb here up to Prato Nevoso.
And we should be in the sun all the way now. Just look again at the crowd here in Italy as we climb this small 3rd category hill. And it looks like Arrieta is just accelerated a little bit. Egoy Martinez will go after him. They're racing for the prize on the top. You can't allow a gap to open now because they won't wait for you. So Danny Pate needs to bury himself and hold on. Martinez has moved over and allowed Arrieta to win that because Martinez got the other one, I think. Gentlemanly act. And 3rd place is Gerrans and 4th is Danny Pate.
Well, what's interesting, Phil, is looking at all of those 4 riders, not one of them really is showing any signs of fatigue currently. They're all pedaling very fluently.
They are. This is going to be a big battle at the final climb. So as we look down from our helicopter again, the peloton still enjoying a meander through the valley, but the other boys up front have already started those foothills directly at the top of our picture. Arrieta gets this one, but who's going to get the next one? That's a question.
This is you after an energy drink. Unfortunately, so is this. Why do energy drinks make you crash? 1 minute you're wired up, the next you feel worse than before. The answer is large amounts of sugar and caffeine. That's why you should try a new liquid energy shot called 5-Hour Energy. With 5-Hour Energy, you can leave grogginess behind and sail through your day without feeling jittery, tense, or you know. That's because 5-Hour Energy contains a powerful blend of B vitamins for energy and amino acids for focus, alertness, and better mood. There's 0 sugar, about as much caffeine as a cup of coffee, and only 4 calories. The 2-ounce shot takes just seconds to drink, and in minutes you're feeling bright, awake, and productive. And that feeling lasts for hours. So if your energy drink makes you crash, Switch to 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later. Find out if 5-Hour Energy is right for you. It's available at these fine stores. Or for more information, go to 5hourenergy.com.
Tired of getting last week's burnt mess on this week's dinner?
Hi, Steve Harkey, Mr. Do-It-Yourself here.
Does this charred mess look familiar?
Why spend hundreds on a grill that you can never seem to keep clean? Well, this is Grill Daddy,
The revolutionary new grill cleaning tool.
the fastest, easiest way to keep your grill clean.
And your food-tasting backyard barbecue great. With one quick turn of the valve, the Grill Daddy releases a stream of water that steam cleans that cooked on, charred on mess away in seconds. And it sterilizes too. Just preheat, brush, rinse, and sterilize. It's that easy. Grill Daddy leaves your grill spotless and sanitary with no chemicals and no hard work. Use it on stainless steel grills, ceramic grills, iron grills. Grill Daddy keeps them all looking like new.
And no more black residue on your grilled food. The stainless steel brush heads are removable, replaceable, and dishwasher safe. And it's the last grill cleaning tool you'll ever need. Nothing cleans like a Grill Daddy.
So why spend a fortune on a grill that you can't seem to keep clean when you can get the Grill Daddy?
You can get your Grill Daddy today for only $14.99.
When you call, ask about our Grill Daddy Pro. It's perfect for all your grilling needs, and it makes a great gift.
Order right now, and I'll include my Grill Perfect reusable color-changing beef thermometer free. Just pay shipping and processing. Never have to guess again. In just 3 seconds, the color tells you whether it's rare, medium, or well. It's the perfect barbecue companion and is available for chicken and fish. Call now and find out how to get free replacement brush heads for life. Here's how to order.
To order your Grill Daddy, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-290-0832. That's 1-800-290-0832. Call now and find out how to get free brush heads for life. Call 1-800-290-0832 and order today.
Welcome back. Quick reminder, one of Bicycle Magazine's Tour de France stages you must not miss, and we're going to give that one to stage 17. Boy, live Wednesday morning at 6:30 Eastern. That's when we climb the Col de Galibier, the Col de Croix de Fer, the Alpe d'Huez. Wall-to-wall coverage for you live here on Versus. Don't forget to also visit bicycle.com's award-winning website. So that's the situation, and stage 17 is going to be a super day. But today, we have two races on our hands now. The battle of who's going to win the stage in Permany 1 from 4, because they won't get caught. They're heading towards the start of the climb now, these four riders, and they're keeping a 14-minute advantage. And then behind, we're going to see the leaders attack one another for sure, because we're talking only a few seconds for a change in the overall leadership. And if we get a change, it'll be the 6th different leader since we left Brest just over 2 weeks ago. The face of Simon Gerrans in his 4th Tour de France, finished every one so far, now has got his best chance at winning a stage. Igor Martinez, he was absolutely flying on the hills just now. He goes through. You can't see those legs, but they belong to Arrieta. And then behind him, Danny Pate. And Danny, the big unknown quantity, probably to them all here in this breakaway, because Danny's never been in the Tour de France before. He'll remember this day for sure. You see how quick that peloton is speeding through the meadows here. And it's largely the work of Stuart O'Grady with Team CSC. Oh, and as we get to the front now, there's a slight change at the front, because this is the Lotto boys. Well, let's check in again with the Garmin Chipotle and see if what we can find out back there, if anything.
Lionel, you copy?
The men at work. Or not. There's not a lot going on, or is there?
All right, guys, like I said before, this Category 3 climb's a little short, sharp one, guys. Must be quite steep. Then we go downhill pretty much all the way to the bottom of the climb.
There's the news. It's not quite as steep as that, Matt, because we drove over it last night, but it'll hurt the legs if they go at the speed that the CSC boys are taking them to the climb, and that could crack the peloton before we get to the last climb. 13:35, that's the site of 20 kilometers to go, a mere 12 miles left to race, Paul. Unfortunately, all bar about 2 or 3 of them are uphill.
That's the tough thing for these guys, Phil, and I keep looking at these 4 leaders, and I cannot pick one man who is stronger than the rest. And even looking at Danny Pate, even though he doesn't have the reputation of a great climber or a man who's been over the big mountain passes in recent history, he doesn't look like a man either showing any signs of weakness in his pedaling style, his body language. And I think the man who'll win the stage is going to be the one who's survived the best on this stage.
I can only imagine all 4 will attack one another, and the one that stays best will win. That's the way to go. The average speed now is going up all the time. It's almost 25 miles an hour now as we get into Chiusa Pescio. This is the town at the foot of the climb now, which will take us on to the last climb of the day. There's the 4 leaders. And you're right, Paul, these guys have really shared out the pacemaking today. There's been away since the 9th kilometre.
Yeah, there's nobody tried to play the clever chap in the breakaway and missed his turns. They've all been pretty much sharing the pacemaking equally throughout the whole of the afternoon. Maybe Danny Pate for the last couple of kilometres of the big climb, the Col d'Angel, didn't do too much, but I think he was just making sure that he didn't get dropped there. There's a little bit of a problem at the back. That's a flat tyre.
Agri-Tobel. Well, that's always a shame. Agri-Tobel had a flat tyre at a crucial stage here. Let's go and check in again with Jonathan Waters and Matty White from the Garmin-Chipotle team. What are they saying now?
Guys, the break's still 13 minutes, so there's no chance of it coming back, that's for sure. Christian, after the boys put you in good position at the bottom of this climb, mate, just ride it like you've done every other climb, mate. Just to your rhythm. You redline it as much as you can to your rhythm, mate. Nothing's changed since a week ago, since last time we went up big hills. So just ride your limit. And you boys, it's your responsibility to put him in perfect position at the bottom of this climb, guys.
It's hard being a professional cyclist, isn't it? The team must be feeling tired, yet they've got to get hold of Christian van der Velde, put him in the right position, and it doesn't matter what they do, they can walk home if that's the case, but he has got a race to the top. And this man doing all of the work here as we start the 3rd category climb, and that again is Stuart O'Grady. Now they get to sample this huge crowd. This is nothing as to what's sitting on the mountaintop, I'll tell you.
It certainly isn't. It really is a magnificent crowd. Phil, there's a lot of riders now from Team CSC starting to move to the front end of the main field. We're just starting the climb with the main peloton of the Colle del Morte. As you can see, look at this over on the right-hand side. Cancellara, and not too far behind Cancellara is a man wearing a red, white and blue jersey. That just happens to be Frank Schleck.
Well, take a look at the face there of Cadel Evans. Well, we can't see it now. He's just gone behind a teammate. He doesn't look as though he's panicking. He knows he's going to be hit. Menchoff is not far away either. The pace being set by CSC rider Kurt Adel-Arvesen. All that brilliant pace-making by Stuart. Job done now. Get home as best you can as he lets the race go away from him.
And look at this man too, Nicky Sorensen. They have ridden like a couple of Trojans on the front end of the main field. You can also see Bernard Eisel slipping away as well there from the main field. These guys now have just got to try and survive.
Well, this climb is hurting the riders who set the pace. Now they will just ride home here as the real race for yellow is about to begin, I reckon. Looking down from the helicopter, they're on the 3rd category climb, but they're way too far behind the leaders. The leaders will win the day, but it does look as though CSC has a plan here. That's Kurt Adel-Arvesen, the stage winner, but more primarily a rider on Team CSC is setting the pace.
Yep, they're all moving up to the front. Look out for the green jersey there, because our friend Oscar Ferreira, Phil, is not far away from the front end of the main field. Kurt Adler-Arvesen looked at Robbie McEwen slipping off the back end of the main field. It's starting to get a little bit grippy now for the sprinters once again. And it's going to be a question of survival for many men, as all they can do is just hope to get to the finish line, Phil, inside of the elimination times.
Robbie will go back to Stuart O'Grady, Bernard Eisel, and the riders who have been dropped now. Arvesen is setting the pace. Cancellara is on the right. It looks as though we've got all of CSC trying to break in here. They've got 2 potential Tour winners, and they know it. They've got Carlos Sastre and Frank Schleck, and they're going to hurt Cadel Evans at every opportunity. The thing is, Paul, Cadel is ready and expects this to happen.
He's expecting something, and I think he will expect something, Phil, on every day of the Alpine passes when we go into them from Team CSC. But what he may not well be expecting is a secret attack that might come from Denny Menchoff. Menchoff is in 5th place overall at the start of the day, and a lot of people think that man is the silent killer. They think he's the man who could come out of the wings, and do something very special here this afternoon. And I have to say, it's the kind of finish that would suit a man like Denny Menchoff.
Well, CSC have put their cards firmly on the table here. Of the 6 riders in that line, 5 are on Team CSC. Just the one rider from Lotto trying to break it up, and it's Popovic.
Well, just looking down at the hill there, you can see that the damage is being done. That's the front end of the main field, but look at these riders being tailed off one by one, group by group. These are the big men. These are the men who do not like going uphill at all.
There is the split. Even Fabian Weckman in the white jersey is here. This is the tempo riding by Arvidsson, reducing the Tour de France in half, creeping up on the left now. It looks like Leon Sanchez of Case Depon, so he's bringing his riders up. Sadly today they've lost Oscar Pereira rather, with a broken shoulder.
Well, the orange jersey there on the shoulder of the yellow jersey of Cadel Evans is Denny Menchoff. He's moving up to keep a very close eye on affairs. And the last time, in fact, the Giro d'Italia came up here, Phil, in the year 2000. On that occasion, the first man to the top of the climb here was Francesco Casagrande, who outsprinted Stefano Garzelli and Gilberto Simoni.
Climbers all.
That gives you an indication of just how difficult this climb is going to be. And I'm sure Cadel Evans knows that. Just slipping backwards, Dario Cioni.
Yes, that will be. In fact, this morning Cadel was saying he was hoping that Dario would have a better day today, but he's gone before the climb.
And that's why I think CSC are all over the front end of the main field. This man here, Kurt Adler Arvidsson, is now going to do exactly what Stuart O'Grady did, exactly what Nicky Sorensen did. He's going to sacrifice himself, Phil, over the flat part of this course. This race, the 4 leaders, is pretty much over. They're 4 kilometers now from the bottom of the climb.
12:45 at the top of the Mort. Now, these boys are going to see 15 kilometers to go here. And they're going to head towards the start of the climb in about 2.5 kilometers for them. We'll take a break, I'm afraid. We've got to do that as we look out across the mountain here at the top of Prato Nevoso. The Tour de France is 2 races today, the stage win, and who will wear the yellow jersey on top of the mountain in Italy tonight. 2 exciting moments still to come. See you in a moment.
For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. Turning repetition into joy. The efficient performance of the Saab Turbo.
Switch to Valvoline's Max Life, and there's no telling how long your car will keep going. Max Life not only protects against friction, but also leaks, deposits, and sludge, the 4 major causes of high-mileage engine breakdown. Drive it forever.
Days Inn has a sunny new look outside. It's the sign of more value than ever inside.
The bed was really comfortable, the pillows were soft, lots of pillows. I slept like a baby.
You're not a true champion until you can defend that belt.
I'm the guy that everybody wants to beat.
Wake up your whiskers with Electric Shave.
Electric Shave!
Stands up whiskers for an up to 52% closer shave.
Man, that was close.
Electric Shave. Blade close. Electric smooth.
Introducing Payne's newest Vanishing Act.
New Icy Hot Vanishing Scent. Now the power of Icy Hot glides on icy to dull pain, then gets hot to relax it away, and the scent vanishes.
New Icy Hot Vanishing Scent. Make pain and scent a vanishing act.
Buying a car is a big decision.
You need some advice.
That is why VHIX.com is so great. Check out the Power Circle ratings for any kind of vehicle.
JDPower.com, Power Circle ratings.
Anything that you want to know about a vehicle.
Mechanical quality.
The performance.
Design quality. Powertrain quality.
You're going to get the right car.
All this great information right on VHIX.com.
Use JDPower.com Power Circle ratings to rank vehicles you're interested in at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Watch our buying guides and test drives powered by Wheels TV on Comcast On Demand.
You're just fighting just to get to the finish. And the worst thing is you get to the finish and you know that it's got to do it all over again the next day.
Welcome back as we peer through the trees here. The four leaders, well, as far as the day's decisions go, at least they're going to share the stage's first four places. Just 11 minutes and 58 seconds the gap. Igor Martinez, Simon Gerrans, Arrieta and Danny Pate. And don't ask me which one's going to win. I wouldn't really know. The faces here of the four leaders are giving absolutely nothing away. They look as though they're almost relishing this last climb. And look at the team time trial here. All of the riders of Team CSC, and Cadel Evans has got onto the tail, as you can see, because he knows they're going to launch a series of attacks. But at the end of all these attacks, Paul, at this moment in time, all Cadel has to watch is the whereabouts of Frank Schleck.
Well, that's the most important man for him to keep a close eye on. But the thing is, they've got a very good tactical manoeuvring ability here. They've got two riders that Cadel Evans really needs to watch. If he watches Frank Schleck too much, they've got the ability to launch Carlos Sastre onto the attack. Although I don't think today, Phil, the climb is steep enough for a man like Carlos Sastre. It is steep enough and easy enough for a man, of course, like Denny Menchov to make the move.
We need to be a bit higher in the sky to read what that says, but everybody's ready for us. Another edition of yellow T-shirts as the Tour de France now heads on to the climb of Prato Nevoso. I think it's upside down.
Yeah,
it says Vive le Tour. Oh, Vive le Tour. Yes, the helicopter was the wrong side of it. Well done.
That's pretty impressive. They've done a great job. Italy is enjoying the Tour de France here this afternoon. There are the four leaders.
There we go.
And they can't, Phil, be very far away now from the start of the climb. Maybe a couple of kilometres. Vive le Tour, absolutely.
Vive le Tour, vive le Tap, because it's been a great stage in many ways. Four riders really did pull the wool over the eyes of the back group. A big pack today. They gained enough time at one stage, over 17 minutes. And they haven't lost that much. They will lose a lot now, but who cares, because they'll share the stage. And then we've got a great race behind for who takes the yellow jersey tonight. There's the speed check there. They're going at 70 kilometers an hour.
That is pretty scary. That's all because of the pressure on the front end of the main field of Team CSC. The scariest team, I have to say, in the main field. And this is a place you certainly would not want to be at 70 kilometers an hour at the back end of the peloton.
The roads are closed, the crowd's off the streets, and so it's okay to speed today. 11.9 kilometers to go. The four leaders here. The slopes are slight, but we're about to start the climb itself now.
Well, just around the corner, Phil, this is going to be the small town of Meroglio. There's a little roundabout. They will take a right-hand turn at that roundabout, and then the climb will start in earnest. It's pretty steady to begin with. It's around about 5 or 6%, but once they get up to the last half of the climb, it really cranks itself up to around about 8.5%.
Danny Pate dives to the wheel of Igor Martinez. Underneath the buntings here, this is the base town, and now we're heading up towards the ski station of Prato Nevoso. And the sun is out, and it looks like it's going to be a clear climb for the four leaders who go onto the slopes of the last day with a lead of just 12 minutes.
I thought for a moment there you were going to say the sun is out, the sky is blue, and we're about to have a pretty impressive charge of the Light Brigade up the climb here. There is the start of the climb, 11.4 kilometers to the summit. The four leaders are still holding on to an 11-minute and 20-second advantage, and we're right at the start of the final climb of the day. But which man is the freshest of this leading group of four? Only one man. It's a shame, really, Phil, after a four-man breakaway like this, that only one man could actually win the stage.
Always the old scenario. Two Spanish riders, an Australian and an American. And the whole of Team CSC not trying to catch them, but trying to break Cadel Evans. Just look at the face here as they drive this race on at the moment. There's where we're going now. And we've been over the climb of the Col Agnel, down to the valley below, without, sadly, Oscar Pereiro, over the Col del Mort, and now we're on to the last climb of the day, to the finish in the Prato Nevoso. There's the statistics for you. It's 7 miles at 6.9%, and it's climbed to 4,724 feet. Let's join the leaders on it. Now, who is going to crack first? Who is going to attack first? It's a bit early, possibly. Ariete moves to the fore. Looks a little bit tired, doesn't he, Ariete? For my money, Martinez looks as fit as a flea. Look at him. Just marking there. Simon Gerrans. That young man, Simon Gerrans, has such a big heart when it comes to racing. He will never give up, and he can suffer. Danny Pate, we don't really know, but we've heard Jonathan Waters say he always looks tired. There's Pate, keeping an eye on the 3 riders as he rides his first Tour de France, and he has a shot of a stage win. Round of applause from the VIPs as they've gone by the leader. 6.5 miles left to go. Let's see as the leaders chase them down. Let's go back to the Garmin team car, see what Matt White might be saying to them at the moment.
Dave, you take Christian into the bottom of this one, real good position, mate. And Trent, try to move up as good as you can, mate. There's only you 3 left in the bunch.
Well, that's interesting. They've only got 3 riders left there.
Just over 3K to the bottom of the climb, guys.
So they've only got 3 riders left to come up around Christian van der Velde. The other one is up here. The rest are out the back. So they've got their own little problems at the moment as the 3 leaders go under 10 kilometres to go now. The 4 leaders rather, 10 kilometres to go. Still no sign of an attack. Well, that's a wise move because this climb actually gets steeper as we get nearer the top. It hasn't really started just yet. 6 miles still to go to the summit. .10:46 is the gap right now. That's Ariete. Looking at these 4 riders, Paul, they might wait a little bit because it's 6 miles still to climb, or nearly 10 kilometres, but it gets harder as we get higher.
Well, just looking at the riders, Phil, I was thinking, I wonder which one is going to make the move first, while behind, this is a massive battle here. Cancellara, Jens Voigt, Gustav, a little bit further back, Andy Schleck. So I think Andy Schleck sacrificing himself for the team here this afternoon. 5th in the line there is Carlos Sastre. A little bit further back in the middle of the riders there in the red, white and blue is Frank Schleck. Cadel Evans looks pretty comfortable. This is an unbelievable team. They've been phenomenal, and I want a lot of them, riders like Jens Voigt, he must have had to bite his lip for many, many days because he's the kind of guy, he likes to attack in a bike race. He wants to go off the front. He's had to be patient. He's waited, Phil, for 15 days.
I think he's as strong as we've ever seen him, Jens Voigt. We saw him ride like this on Otakam. Now we're seeing it again here on the first day of 3 in the Alps. Broken by a rest day tomorrow in Cuneo. He's been on the floor today, Jens, as well, so he must be pretty sore too. These are the 4 riders again showing now. Danny Pate is dodging back wheels here, so maybe he's feeling a little bit tired right now. He's got to hang on. The pressure is on at 9 kilometres to go. We are looking at the 4 riders in the leading break. 10 minutes 13 the gap. Danny Pate, I think, is tired. He's following the wheels and he's not contributing to the pace, or he may be just being clever here, because I think, for my money, Martinez is the man to beat.
He's the strongest rider. His accelerations when he comes to the front end of that group are a little bit nerve-wracking, I think, for the other riders. I was just thinking, Phil, the man with the best acceleration on the climb in that leading group of 4 riders has to be Simon Gerrans. Cancellara's pulled off. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys tonight. Now it's up to big Jens Voigt, the German tank.
And he drives on here, but they're losing men. They've lost Cancellara. Look at the Jens Voigt here. He just digs in there. As he's been on the floor today, how much longer can he go? As he's being chased up by Vladimir. Oh, there's been a problem here too. And the riders, it's Lopez Garcia, so it's nothing special there. They've lost him. Well, the race is now on for who will break Cadell Evans. Look at the crowds at the finish. That's a live picture from up here on top at Prato Nevoso. We'll take a break, but when we come back, we'll take you commercial free to the finish. See you in a moment.
We should come up with a new Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, something for fat guys.
Presenting Mike's Hard Light Lemonade.
For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. Turning repetition into joy. The efficient performance of the Saab Turbo.
When you're Hendrick Motorsports, every race is a battle fought with Q Motor Oil technology. Get the Q horsepower specially designed for your car. Unleash all your horses.
Happiness is fat money. The pudgier, the portlier, the porkier, the better. Until August 15th, get an even chunkier rate of 3.50% APY. That's 9 times the national savings average. And watch your money get fatter with HSBCDirect.com. Open an online savings account and say goodbye to skinny savings. Brought to you by HSBC, the world's local bank.
An American television first. From the creator of Survivor, The Contender Muay Thai. Premieres Thursday, July 31st on Versus.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva, men get it.
Do aches, pains, and arthritis have you in their grip? Break the grip with new Aspercream Heat Gel. Extra strength medicine delivers penetrating heat relief without embarrassing odor. Fast pain relief that keeps you going for hours. Aspercream, break the grip of pain.
Buying a car is a big decision.
You need some advice.
That is why VHIX.com is so great. Check out the Power Circle ratings for any kind of vehicle.
JDPower.com Power Circle ratings.
Anything that you want to know about a vehicle.
Mechanical quality.
The performance.
Design quality. Powertrain quality.
You're going to get the right car.
All this great information right on VHIX.com.
Use JDPower.com Power Circle ratings to rank vehicles you're interested in at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Dealer inventories are now searchable at VHIX.com on your mobile phone.
So you can defend that belt.
I'm the guy that everybody wants to beat.
To go, Martinez has just launched an attack and they got rid of Arrieta, but trying to catch him up is Danny Pate. He was with him and he's back with him. He's just come back onto him again now, and this could be good news because surprisingly Guerin's there. He's having to claw his way back, but I don't think that Jose Luis Arrieta is going to get back. He did seem to take it hard. All the attacking riding came from Igor Martinez. Now the question is, Paul, Simon Gerrans is going to have to kick back. I think Arrieta has gone here, but it looks on this occasion Simon will climb back up to the two pacemakers.
Climbing back up, I think he's clawing his way back up to these two men at the front of the race. I'm impressed with Danny Pate. You know, a little earlier we were talking about Danny Pape, Phil, and we mentioned that he'd been a former world champion at the under-23 level of the sport. Well, when you've been a world champion, it's a special tag that you've got on your back, and that's why I think he's pulled himself up here. He wants to win a stage of the Tour. Now, this is Schleck's turn.
Let's not forget the other part of the Tour de France, because this is Andy Schleck here setting the pace with Carlos Sastre, and now there are only 2 riders in front of Cadel Evans from that team, and Cadel does not look stressed at all. This is Jens Voigt, job done. And just how small is that leading group now? And the Maillot Jaune is riding like a leader just at this moment.
He's just sitting there, just keeping his eye on the men in front of him. He's keeping his eye on number 11. That's the rider second in the line there, and that rider just happens to be Carlos Sastre. Jaroslav Popovic flicking his wrist there. He has to stay with Cadel for as long as possible. Behind him is the big Russian rider in the orange jersey, Denny Menchov.
But that was why he flicked his wrist. He wanted to move out, and he gave the signal to Denny Menchov. I'm not sure that Popo is going quite that well, although he's got onto the back there. Watch out for the rider with the red top. That's Frank Schleck. 1 second behind Cadel Evans. Cadel is just hanging on to these 2 riders here. 10 kilometres to go, and Martinez has gone again further up the road. Oh, sorry.
10 kilometres to go.
Wrong end of the field, sorry. That was somebody going off, probably Samuel Sanchez here. Another shed as the riders at the front all stay together.
Well, as you can see now, this has become, Phil, a very select group. Just watch out there for Frank Schleck, because Frank Schleck is looking just a little bit dangerous there, and he's the man I think may well be thinking about moving up onto the acceleration. But Christian van der Velde is in the group. He's also sitting quite pretty.
Prato Nevoso, 11.4 kilometres. We go to 1,440. It's 6.9%. Cadel Evans has just followed the wheels of a team which has lost their drivers one by one. The only man they're interested to, really, is Sastre and Schleck, and they are both waiting for the moment. They will attack, but they've got to wait till all of their team drop off. The other rider in here who's impressive is Vladimir Efimkin. With the disqualification of Rico, he has a stage win to his name now.
Now Andy Schleck has kept the pressure on a fraction there, and now we can see what's happening at the back end of the group here. There's still riders getting tailed off one by one.
That's a good ride by Johan Schopp, but he's gone now. As we go further up, Jerome Pino is still there. But this is a race now of strongmen. Now what? There's the attack by Sastre. Cadel Evans has to answer that one, but no need to panic. Sastre is a long way behind for the moment. Bernard Cole as well. This is a decisive move. The yellow jersey is still looking strong.
Well, the yellow jersey is looking strong, but he's not the one who's chasing them down. In fact, the pressure is coming on the front there, Phil, by the man from Russia, Denny Menchov.
Which is good for Cadel.
Right
Others
up there.
have got a race 2 in this event.
Others got to race 2 in this event, but it just goes to show that Team CSC are going to do everything. Bernard Cole has grappled onto the back wheel of the Spanish rider there, and Van der Velde is still in contact.
Well, Bernard Cole on the right in the light blue is the new leader in the King of the Mountains for sure now. He'll get double points up here on the top for the first few riders over. Well, that was the first card played by Sastre when he's come to the attacks from their stars, and that has cracked David Arroyo.
Well, I tell you what, that was a very well laid plan by Team CSC. Again, you can see the move coming by Carlos Sastre, and again, it's Denny Menchov coming.
I'm a bit surprised to see Sastre try this on a hill which is not that steep, but now look at Denny Menchov here. Cadel Evans can't afford to let the gap open. He's across the gap like a rabbit, and that is another cracked rider from the team there. That's Andy Schleck.
And moving up there in 4th position, you can see Alejandro Valverde. Frank Schleck, Phil, is just sitting back there, waiting for his turn to move. He's watching the aggression. Don't forget, Frank Schleck in the red, white and blue there is only looking for a single second.
And let's not forget Alejandro Valverde there in the black. The rider who had such a rough ride in the Pyrenees may be coming back in the Alps. He's right there now. He looks across at Frank Schleck. Cadel Evans looks across at them both and goes back into the slipstream. He's the leader of the Tour de France. It's up to the others to attack him. And on the left there is the new leader in the King of the Mountains, Cole, and Christian van der Velde still there. No teammates on his side with him.
Well, this kind of climb suits the big man from Spain there on the left-hand side, wearing number 31. That is Alejandro Valverde. Van der Velde back in contact. Moving up as well there, one of the riders from Euskaltel, that's Sammy Sanchez, who was in a little bit of difficulty, but he's recovered. Further up the road, though, here, Phil, you can see...
Pate again, got back to him.
He's come back to the leader, Egoy Martinez, and Simon Gerrans will not give up. He's around about 10 lengths off the back of that group, but he's still dreaming of a stage victory.
Well, and just coming back, here's Andy Schleck has rejoined with a fine effort. This young man has got back on. Brother Frank is in second position on the wheel of Valverde. Sanchez has shot over to the right, while up there, Cadel Evans is just marking his men. He's not made a single attack, and that's the way he must ride this. If they sense he's vulnerable, they'll all hit him.
Well, he's got to control, and that's the important thing. You have to control in a situation like this. I don't think Cadel really has to make a move himself until he probably gets to the steep climb of the Alpe d'Huez. But now, coming back, 3 riders from CSC in this group. Carlos Sastre, Phil, has attacked on a climb which really doesn't suit him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another move coming from Team CSC in a little bit. Sammy Sanchez now says, you guys can watch each other, I'm going to take off.
Well, he's got a chance, but it doesn't look as though they're going to let him go, because Frank Schleck has lifted up the pace here. Cole is still there. Cadel won't move. Samuel Sanchez is not a worry just yet. Watch out, Sastre's moving on the right.
Sanchez concentrating, not worried about the other guys. He's trying to move up in the overall standings. He's lost himself a little bit of time since the start of the tour, but he started the day in 11th place overall. He's looking for 4 minutes and 26 seconds, and if they let him go, he could very easily pull back a minute on a stage like this.
And that would help to make it look a bit more respectable. They won't react just yet, because he's caused a little bit of a diversion here, Samuel Sanchez, for Euskaltel Euskadi. And looking over the back there. Meanwhile, let's go back to the front, because here is the return of the Australian. Simon Gerrans is back with the 2 leaders. 1 American, 1 Australian and 1 Spanish rider drive towards the top of an Italian outpost called Prato Nevoso. No Italian. Sanchez is slowly but surely going nowhere.
Well, Sanchez is trying to go again, but now with 3 riders from Team CSC in that group behind Phil, I have a feeling that Andy Schleck is going to sacrifice himself for Frank Schleck in the group Maillot Jaune. 3rd position there is Bernard Cole. Cadel Evans looks fine this afternoon. He's responded to all of the attacks so far. Van der Velde is the man that's sitting a second from the back of the group. Alongside him is Carlos Sastre.
9 riders at the front in today's main field of the Tour de France. Not all of the top 10 riders are here. Sanchez could well improve a couple of places tonight, whatever happens, as we head up to 5 kilometers to go. 3 of the 4 remain together. Martinez has tried twice to get away from these riders. Twice they've hauled him back. He may not have a 3rd in him.
Well, I'm not sure that he does, and I tell you what, I take my hat off very sincerely to number 199, Danny Pate, who doesn't have the reputation of a climber like Simon Gerrans or Igor Martinez, but he's responded and he's present and correct all of the time. This now is the yellow jersey group. These are pretty much the heads of state of the Tour de France this year. Sammy Sanchez is slipping backwards.
He's back in the group, so we're now 10 as he goes to back. Carlos Sastre doesn't look so good anymore now. Frank Schleck is being set up by his brother at the front of the race to launch him perhaps for the finishing line. Remember, a second is a blink of the eyelid. That's all it is to steal the yellow jersey.
I was trying to pick up who the rider was from Liquigas. It's Roman Kreuziger, the rider who won the Tour of Switzerland earlier this year, and he's now moved himself up to the heads of state. Yes, you're right. I think Carlos Sastre has hit them very hard on a couple of occasions, and now he's been put into the red zone for a while. He needs to get himself sorted out if he wants to think about trying to attack again.
Just look at the acceleration there as we came to a halt with our picture of Alejandro Valverde. He looks across at Bernard Cole, who's turning out to be something of a revelation in this year's Tour de France in that blue jersey. Andy Schleck setting tempo now, trying to get Frank a little bit of a chance to recover. So too his other teammate, Carlos Sastre. So he's got to set the pace. Sanchez has found his legs again, and he comes up alongside Christian van der Velde, who is content at this moment to follow wheels. And I do not believe that van der Velde is in any trouble at all. He might well go near the end.
A little bit further down the slope here. This is the man that the majority of the Italian crowds will be shouting for, Damiano Cunego. I've absolutely no idea where he is currently, but the fact that he's alongside Sandy Cassarfil would indicate that he's maybe not at the front end of the race.
They've been split on the climb. They're in the second big peloton of the Tour de France right now.
Kirken.
Yes, and he's losing ground. This is not good for Kim Kirken. He started the day 7th overall. The former yellow jersey is under pressure at the back. He may be losing a few places today.
Danny Pate has decided he doesn't want to be subjected to the pacemaking of the 2 climbers now, so he's felt that the best thing for him to do is come up and set the pacemaking himself. And when you're not maybe the best climber in the group, that's sometimes the best thing to do, because you can set a pace which is comfortable for yourself.
Well, one thing's for sure, Alejandro Valverde has shed all of his problems of the Pyrenees. He's back in the race in the Alps here. I'm not sure he can make up time lost, but he can take stages. Look at the face of young Andy Schleck. This is for brother Frank. He's just riding till he drops.
Well, he's setting a massive big tempo for Team CSC. They really are a phenomenal team. I'm a bit concerned, Phil, about Carlos Sastre sitting second from the back of that group, because despite the two magical attacks he put in, he now seems to be in a little bit of difficulty. 3 riders at 4 kilometers to go. Martinez, Danny Pate and Simon Gerrans, and still you cannot really pick a winner.
The Group Maillot Jaune have halved the deficit, 7:30. They won't get them, though. At 4 kilometers to go, they won't be that far behind them, though, because the infighting is taking place. Still at the front is Andy. He can't go on much longer. And at second wheel is Valverde, then Bernard Cole, and then Kreuziger, Frank Schleck, Cadel Evans, Menchov, Sastre. They're all still there.
And the one man you forgot to mention, of course, Christian van der Velde, looking very comfortable. I think this is the kind of climb that suits Christian van der Velde here this afternoon. Evans on his own, but there's only one team that's got a multiple number of riders in there, and that's Team CSC. Van der Velde, 191 at the back, still pedaling very supplely, and keeping himself in contact with the yellow jersey. I think when you're a guy like Christian van der Velde, you've got to pick a rider to try and follow. I'm amazed at how well Van der Velde is riding in the Tour de France this year, Phil. He really has become the revelation for the United States.
If he runs out of these Alps with a very close time loss to the leader, he can win in the time trial. He's very, very quick. Up front there, the 3 riders, I think, have tried their attacks and haven't had an answer. It might go down to the finishing sprint, which, of course, is very much uphill. As we go back here, the rider in the lime green, the only thing we're certain about, Paul, in that group, as we look at it, one of them will win the Tour de France in Paris. There's nobody else in this race.
Absolutely. One of those riders in the yellow jersey group, which has created this afternoon the first serious selection. But let's not forget, after this stage today, Phil, there's a rest day, and then there's 2 more vicious days in the Alps, and this race can turn upside down on any one of those occasions. The 3 leaders, look at Danny Pate here.
Well, he's strong.
He is extremely strong. He's riding well, and he's riding sensibly. He's waiting for the moves, he's waiting for the accelerations, and he decided, he looked at Simon Gerrans and said, well, I'm going to have a go myself and see if I can get rid of the Aussie, but he can't.
He lifts the pace. He's forced Simon Gerrans to get out of the saddle and close the gap, and he's just checked on him. And sometimes, if you're feeling strong, you let the rider think he's getting on, you kick again.
Martinez has got...
42nd down there, yes, and he wasn't looking either, was he, Danny Pate? That wasn't an expense. That could have been an expensive move, but Pate has a lot of strength in these legs. He's going after Martinez. I don't know why he keeps on checking on Gerrans. Gerrans is a fighter. This man knows how to suffer, and he's trying to go back. Meanwhile, our other Tour de France is on the lower slopes, and Andy Schleck is pushing on as he tries to go clear now.
Well, Andy Schleck has taken off there because he's seen a little move going clear there, and I think Denny Menchov...
he's gone down. What did he hit there?
He just slipped on the road. Menchov was making his big move of the day, Phil, and he went down and his chain is off. Well, he's going to have to get himself back in. Just look at this. He just goes around the corner, and it's so slippy.
There is no reason for that, I think. And in fact, I can look out the window here. The rain has just started, can you believe? And it's becoming quite heavy in the last few kilometers. And that was simply the grease on the surface of the road. Well, the riders saw that, but there'll be no waiting now.
Phil, that was a scary move by Denny Menchov. We knew this man was the silent mover, the silent man in the main field, waiting for the move. Just looking down to check and see if there's any damage to his bike, and he says, no, it's okay, I've got to get myself back into this event. But you can see now why Denny Menchov has been regarded as a dangerous bike rider.
Well, you don't deserve bad luck like that, but the rain has just started. It's just skimmed on the surface of the road here. It's caused a little bit of a regrouping of the boys here as Andy takes over the pacemaking. Brother Frank is down in the centre there. Valverde to the right, Cole to the left, Sastre to the back. They are all here.
Well, they're all here and they're all waiting. I'll tell you one thing, that Andy Schleck has got a fine pair of legs on him this afternoon, because he was immediately off in pursuit of the man from Russia who's just getting back into contact there. That's an indication that Denny Menchov, Phil, has got great form, but that was very sad for him to go down like that.
Well, we're still spread by exactly the same time gaps as when we started this race today. There is nothing in it. 57 seconds covers the top 5 men in the Tour de France. And if they finish like this, there will be no time differences again tonight. Andy Schleck wants brother Frank to come out and grab a second.
Well, there's Kreuziger in second position there. Another young rider, a star for the future. But Andy Schleck, too, I think, Phil, will come back to the Tour de France one year and quite possibly be a winner. There is Damiano Cunego trying to pull himself back into this bike race, but in fact he's losing place. He was with that group there, and I think that is the group of Kim Kirken, and the little prince from Italy is not going to win the stage this afternoon, and he's just suffering.
He's at 2.5 kilometres behind the yellow jersey group right now. It wouldn't surprise me if he stays in Italy, quite frankly, because he's not firing like we expected. These are the leaders locked in combat for the win as they head up towards the summit of the climb. Still Martinez doing the work. And just who is the strongman of this group?
Well, Alejandro Valverde looks concentrated, looks good.
That's the secret weapon, Kreuziger.
Yep.
He's going to be such a great cyclist.
He's going to be a great bike rider. He's lost himself a lot of time in the Tour de France this year, Phil, but it's only his first serious attempt. He started the day in 19th place overall. Now another acceleration coming from Andy Schleck, saying to them, take this one if you can, because I'm going to hurt you, men, and we're going to hit you again before the summit.
This is a rider who was dropped by the group, who fought his way back and went straight to the front and stretched them again. And he's put Sanchez in a little bit of trouble with acceleration. Still hanging slightly off his Carlos Sastre. He's not riding smoothly, number 11. But Christian van der Velde, he is still following. He's not under pressure.
Van der Velde, 191 in the white jersey there of Garmin Chipotle, looking very comfortable. He's alongside Cadel Evans. And right in front of Cadel Evans, Evans is keeping his eye very firmly on the red, white and blue jersey there of Andy Schleck.
Well,
Frank Schleck.
Yeah. The people on the side here, the Tifosi of Italy, are watching a yellow jersey really defend himself well on this climb. It's normally a pink jersey as leader of the Giro d'Italia, but not this time. The Tour's making its first to climb up here. The face of Andy Schleck, he's been superb. Kreuziger just licking his lips behind and is in no pressure at all. He's only 23 as well.
Well, at 2 kilometres to go, Phil, there are still 3 men in contact for the victory this afternoon. Danny Pate is trying to get the win for the United States of America. He looks across at Egoy Martinez to say, how are your legs, my mate? Can I beat you to the summit? In the yellow jersey group, though, they've got rid, I think, finally, of Sammy Sanchez, and there's another acceleration at the front.
And look at the back here, because Cadel Evans has got to grit his teeth right now. That is a very serious push by Menchov. That has hurt Cadel Evans, but he struggles and fights. He's looked over his shoulder, Menchov. He's seen the yellow in trouble, but he knows it's all coming back together again.
Well, that was a serious acceleration by Menchov, and I'm not a little bit surprised as to why he sat up, but it's allowed Cadel Evans to get himself back into this race. Bernard Cole there comes to the front, and he's now going to look for the acceleration, and that is a move that they need to respond to.
Well, we're looking at the real race to lead the Tour de France here. That is why our cameras are staying away from the men who are out to win the stage. We'll cut back by the time those riders get up the top. But right now, Cadel Evans and Frank Schleck, the 2 men likely to succeed, are both in a little bit of trouble.
The man who nailed back Bernard Cole there, in fact, was Alejandro Valverde. Now, that goes to show that Valverde is recovering as this race goes further forward. Sitting on the wheel of the yellow jersey now is Frank Schleck, and again the acceleration coming at the front, and this time again it's Denny Menchov.
And I think this time it's curtains for Andy Schleck, so they've lost a pacemaker. Cadel is on the whip end here. He's being flicked around at the back of this line. Menchov is advertising to everybody he's got the legs now, but Alessandro Valverde is simply superb, and on the outside now, a little move to just go to the head of the race.
Did you say that Andy Schleck was gone? Well, excuse me, he's just come back, and he's thinking about brother Frank, he's thinking about Carlos Sastre. This is an unbelievable team.
Kim Kirken trying to get back up into competition here.
He's around about a minute in arrears off the back end of the yellow jersey group. There is Efemkin, he's been dislodged. Cyril Dissel is in this group as well. Sandy Kassar just getting onto the back there as well. That looks like Fofanov.
It is Dmitry Fofanov. They are fighting, though, a little way down here. This is a duo battle. We'd like to see what's happening with the leaders. We're, of course, in the hands of our French direction here. We don't know of anything that's going on up front at the moment, but we will see them cross the line, I'm sure about that. We're looking here at the battle for the next wearer of the yellow jersey, nodding like the dog in the proverbial car window. Bernard Cole is trying again to answer, where does Andy Schleck get this from?
Well, he gets it from the fact, Phil, that he was a white jersey winner of the Giro d'Italia last year, second overall. He's got the ability to climb. He's hit them and hit them again, and he's trying to set something up. And look at this. Frank Schleck has seen the move now, and as soon as Frank Schleck gets to the wheel of his brother, he accelerates, but Cadel Evans is pinned to the back wheel of the man who is 1 second ahead of behind him in the overall classification.
Well, this is the group that's racing approximately 6 minutes behind the leaders. Let us not forget that. We're coming up to 1 kilometre to go. There they are. These are the 3 leaders of the day today. None will pull on the yellow jersey tonight. There is the kite for them, and Danny Pate is going to take them to the kite. The man who has looked completely fried for 100 kilometres seems to be extremely strong indeed. We are looking now further down the slopes, and this is another attack by Sastre.
Carlos Sastre is looking for the climb this afternoon. He's just about to get joined there, Phil, by Denny Menchov, covered as well by Bernard Cole. This man wants to win the Tour de France this year. He's put everything into the bank to try and win if he can. Finally, Andy Schleck goes to the back of the group, and they're having to put Cadel Evans onto the front. Evans is now in the defensive.
That's it, and he won't chase Valverde because Valverde's lost time. Now Cadel is looking for wheels. He's seen Frank Schleck go. He's got to chase Frank. 1 second splits them. Cadel Evans gets in the wheel there of Christian van der Velde.
What a race this has been, Phil, and this is only the first of the Alpine stages. Look at the face here on Denny Menchov. He's trying to ride himself back into a top 3 position at the end of the day. Carlos Sastre is the man that set it up, but I tell you what, CSC are all over this race. Roman Kreuziger is the man now setting the pace ahead of Frank Schleck, and Cadel Evans is just pulling himself back into this. They have thrown everything at him this afternoon.
This has been a very tough time. There's a 1 second gap there right now. My opinion is Cadel should lose this yellow jersey and give it to Frank Schleck and live to fight another day. We've now seen Menchov is right into the red zone as well as he gets up behind Sastre. Sastre, he's the odd man out of the favourites. He needs some time gain now to start the long journey back. He can't ride the last time trial.
Well, Cadel Evans now is pretty much on the defensive, and again Christian van der Velde says, I'm going to go now. A lot of you can follow me if you can.
Well, there's some of the crowd up here on the finishing line as the 3 leaders head up towards the finish. No decision. Danny Pate of Garmin-Chipotle zigzagging across the road. Here comes the chase behind again. Menchov, Cole, Sastre, watch out. Valverde is creeping up. We've split it 4 and 4 here at the moment, and Christian van der Velde might be the saviour of Cadel Evans today.
He may well be. I think if you remember back to the climb up to Otakam, he was the saviour of Cadel Evans on that occasion too. Bernard Cole now comes out nodding that head of his in that strange gangly style to lift the pace once more. He's looking to improve on his 4th place overall at the start of the day, and he's not really looking for very much on Christian van der Velde.
They come up, they're about 1.5 kilometres behind the leaders of the race on the road today. That's how much they've closed up on what has become a totally personal battle between 6 or 7 men. The face of Sastre here. Every one of these riders today have dug into depths I doubt they ever knew they had.
Well, I tell you what, Phil, this is announcing that the next 2 days in the Alps are going to be very scary for the top 10 riders in the overall classification. Carlos Sastre has given his everything this afternoon, but we are not surprised to see the man in orange there, Denny Menchov, the Russian rider wearing 131. Cadel Evans finding some help here and assistance at the finish.
Danny Pate's broken, but look at the speed of Simon Gerrans. The Australian has left them all. They should have dropped him, because this is going to give Australia a terrific stage winners. Chased home by Martinez. A win for Simon Gerrans after 4 Tours de France. He snatches the first ever victory, and that is absolutely delightful from the man from Mansfield in the state of Victoria. And a terrific result for Danny Pate. An all-day breakaway, and the USA rider gets 3rd.
Well, that was a brilliant performance by Simon Gerrans. After all, Phil, he was dropped at the start of the day, climbed his way back into the leading group of 3 and came up with the sprint. Now it looks to me as if Cadel Evans has been on the ground here this afternoon, because you can see a little bit of dirt on his elbows. There is Christian van der Velde just trying and fighting to stay in contact. They're getting some assistance here finally from a pacemaking that's been done by Sammy Sanchez.
Well, they've thrown everything at one another and they're almost neutralised here. Sammy Sanchez is trying to get up to them and help them out. Bernard Cole, Denny Menchov, Sastre and Valverde. None of them will affect the race destination tonight, but they're closing the gaps on Evans. He will note that.
Well, Bernard Cole in the blue jersey there, Phil, is
gone.
looking for 46 seconds. That's all he requires at the end of today. And he's got with him the man who is just behind him in the overall classification, Denny Menchov. I'm not surprised to see now a little bit of backing off there by Andy Schleck. He's done a great job. Christian van der Velde still in contact here. First, second and third in the overall classification at the start of the day. But now it's Roman Kreuziger who's setting the pacemaking there for Cadel Evans, still in the yellow jersey.
5 riders at 1 kilometre to go now. The race is on to see who will be the next wearer of the maillot jaune. Carlos Sastre has to take time in the Alps. He has to. And Valverde has to take lots of time, but he wanted to do well. He wanted to prove a point today. He's the Spanish champion.
Alejandro Valverde will ride himself possibly back into the top 10 at the end of the Tour de France stage this afternoon, and he's got with him Denny Menchov. Phil, this is a great battle here, and there is the yellow jersey trying to keep it on his shoulders, and I'm looking at my clock here. He's already lost himself under the red kite, Phil, 33 seconds. So he's only just holding on to the yellow jersey ahead of Bernard Cole.
Well, my opinion, it'd be better if Cole took it away from him and took off a little bit of the pressure here, because the men that he really fears, I think, are around him, with the exception of Menchov, who is gaining time. And there goes Cole again, and this could be for the yellow jersey.
Well, Cole knows this, Phil. He knows he is so close to the yellow jersey here this afternoon. He's looking for 46 seconds. That's all he wants. He doesn't care about finishing 5th or 6th or 7th on a stage like this. And look at Carlos Sastre. He too is pulling himself back up there. And Alejandro Valverde is riding like the true Spanish champion that he is this afternoon.
Well, Carlos Sastre is 1 minute 28 behind Cadel Evans. He needs time, and he started to get it by the look of it. 500 metres to go. Cole surely must realise now he could be a yellow jersey wearing the Tour de France. That has never happened to him before. Don't worry about the time count, because that is the time on Simon Gerrans, who's been home for 3 minutes. Cole, Sastre, Valverde's tracking a little bit.
Well, Cole gets out of the saddle again, Phil, over this final steep part of the climb. He doesn't have to worry about what position he's going to be this afternoon. He has to worry about the clock and what the clock is going to tell him. And once he's crossed the line, start your clock and try and count for 46 seconds, because that's what it's all going to be about at the end of the day. Has Cadel Evans and the group behind got any power left to try and pull back the gap that he had?
Menchov has been placed in serious trouble here and might go back to the Cadel Evans group, because Bernard Cole, who's threatened to do something, he is most certainly now the new leader of the King of the Mountains, and the clock may also make him the new leader of the Tour de France. He's going all the way to the line. It is a case of every second counts, and Sastre is also gaining time. This race today has not opened up. It is completely closed down. We are still talking about a matter of seconds, and now 44 will do.
49 it's going to have to be. There is Alejandro Valverde going in. Look at the clock at the bottom there. It's 4 minutes and 13 seconds. Cadel Evans has to cross the line, Phil, inside of 4 minutes and 49 seconds if he's going to keep the yellow jersey. Well, here is Menchov. He's been tailed off as well on the run-up towards the finish. Cadel Evans now in the yellow jersey is battling to keep that yellow jersey on his shoulders. Schleck has gone. Van der Velde has gone.
Well, if it's not going to be Cole, it'll be Schleck, because there's a second gap here. As we come up now, 37 seconds has gone by. Frank Schleck is in, and it looks to me as though he's got about 4 to 5 seconds. 43, 44, 45, 46. Cadel Evans is going to keep yellow or lose it to Frank Schleck.
He's going to lose it by a fraction, and I have a feeling, Phil, that it's going to be Bernard Cole who will be in the jersey this afternoon. It'll be close.
Well, it'll be very close, but I'll tell you what, I reckon there's 4 seconds separates the top 3 riders in the Tour de France tonight. But this man, forget it. Simon Gerrans, one of the nicest guys in the sport, is now a stage winner in a Tour de France. And Australia won't believe it. They'll be so delighted.
Well, it's going to be a bittersweet message, I think, for Australia, because I have a feeling that the yellow jersey will have been taken off the shoulders of Cadel Evans at the end of the day, and Kim Kirkin has recovered a fraction over the last few kilometres. He crosses the line there at around about 5.5 minutes.
Well, it is going to be so interesting to see tonight. I thought that by my watch, the jersey will pass to Frank Schleck by maybe a second, but it's so close. I think if we go for 4 across the top 3, we won't be far away. What a Tour de France.
It's going to be very close indeed. I tell you, that's what the riders have battled up here this afternoon. But Frank Schleck did what he needed to do. He put him a second between himself and Cadel Evans. So it all really depends on just exactly what time the clock said when Frank Schleck came across the line. But Bernard Cole certainly gave his all this afternoone.
And is assured of one jersey. He's the polka dot leader as the king of the mountains. Well, we're thinking at the moment it is probably Schleck Cole Evans, but it could be Cole Schleck Evans, it could be Evans Schleck Cole. Per many 1 from 3. That's the way this Tour de France is. But one thing's for sure, look at this time loss here as they come over the line, and this is the little prince, Damiano Cunego. He's lost nearly 6 minutes, almost 7 to the winner today. And so he's come down, he's lost nearly 3 minutes to the Evans area group.
No, he definitely had. He was hoping to ride high in the overall standings this afternoon, Phil, to try and wave himself to the Italian crowds. Well, there is a confirmation of the result. Simon Gerrans has got the result, but I think what's more important, Phil, is at 4:41 is Frank Schleck, so I've got to do my maths very quickly.
There's a big time gap there, but it's been a great day today in the Tour de France. Well, we're looking out across the mountain bike trails here on the top of Prato Nevoso. Of course, it's a ski station when the snow's down. It's a great place to come if you've got a mountain bike as well. Well, I'm totally out of breath after that. It was a wonderful day. Everybody believed they had the ability to win that battle for the yellow jersey. They threw every part of their body at the bike. And the result was, we don't know. We're waiting for them all to work it out and tell us just who is. My personal opinion is, I think it'll pass to Frank Schleck. And for Cadel Evans, that might be the best thing that could happen to him right now. So watching the finishing line here, nearly 8 minutes has passed by. Let's look at Simon Gerrans. Let me see, 3-6. He's the 8th Australian cyclist ever to win a stage of the Tour de France. He's joined a very elite club from down under, that is for sure. And he deserved it. He hung on and he come away in the sprint. Cole's the new leader in the King of the Mountains, but who's in yellow? We'll find out when we come back to the Tour de France.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends, with a little help from my friends.
At Hampton, we love having you here.
Hi, welcome to Progressive.com. How can I help you?
Well, I haven't shopped for car insurance in a while.
And you're worried that you've been paying too much, right?
Yeah. So how can I know I'm getting a good deal?
We can compare your Progressive Direct rate with other top companies.
Wow. Seriously?
Yeah. Look at the deal we just got him.
That's a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, or a big tricked out name tag.
Making sure you get a great deal. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Switch to Valvoline's Max Life, and there's no telling how long your car will keep going. Max Life not only protects against friction, but also leaks, deposits, and sludge, the 4 major causes of high-mileage engine breakdown. Drive it forever.
Pretty good move so far.
Can I use the extra bedroom as a walk-in closet? I wonder what cheerleaders wear in Florida.
Make your move stress-free with the most trusted name in moving. United Van Lines. Love your move.
Buying a car is a big decision.
You need some advice.
That is why VHIX.com is so great.
Check out the Power Circle ratings for any kind of vehicle.
JDPower.com Power Circle ratings.
Anything that you want to know about a vehicle.
Mechanical quality.
The performance.
Design quality.
Powertrain quality.
You're going to get the right car.
All this great information right on VHIX.com.
Use JDPower.com Power Circle ratings to rank vehicles you're interested in at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Dealer inventories are now searchable at VHIX.com on your mobile phone.
A healthy lifestyle begins before you even get out of bed. It begins with the Doctor's Choice mattress, the perfect combination of support and comfort. In fact, I've recommended it to my patients.
Visit our store or website and discover all the benefits of Doctor's Choice by Denver Mattress.
Welcome back to the dizzy heights here in Italy of the Tour de France at Prato Nevoso. We've just seen a win by an Australian, and another Australian do battle with all of his main challengers for his yellow jersey in the Tour de France. It has really been a superb battle. It all came down to the last climb up here to the finish. This man was dropped twice on the climb by the leading breakaway. He clawed his way back, and then he won it in the sprint. Simon Gerrans, only the 8th Australian cyclist ever to win a stage of the Tour de France. And he's absolutely delighted there. I'm not sure whether that's a victory salute or the Mexican wave. And that's Roger Liggett, his manager, who always had faith in him. Big result for Roger too. There's the result for you, brought to you by Honda ATV. Simon Gerrans wins at 3 seconds. Igor Martinez at 10. Danny Pate, absolutely brilliant result for Danny Pate. That'll give Garmin Chipotle a huge boost. Jose Luis Arrieta dropped by the break, but comes in 4th at 55 seconds. Bernard Cole, the new King of the Mountains man, at 4 minutes 3. He brought over the battle players. Carlos Sastre at 6:4:03. Valverde back in at 4:12. Menchov got dropped actually on that little last climb, 4:23. Schleck 4:41. Van der Velde right in there at 4:43. Where's Cadel Evans? That's the thing. Cadel Evans 13 to 4:50. That will cause a change of yellow jersey, probably to Frank Schleck. Roman Kreuziger, the man who can win this race, maybe even next year. 11th, 4:46 for him. Further down, still the fighters come. Stefan Gruber, the oldest man in the race, 18th, riding superbly. Nibali is in 20th place in the white jersey. Let's go to Robbie Ventura. He's got Danny Pate with him.
Danny, sensational stage today. What does a performance like this mean to you in your career?
I don't know. I mean, it's a big deal, but at the same time, disappointed at the same time. So, I don't know.
You guys were all so closely matched in that final climb, attacking each other. Can you tell us about the end and what tactical moves were being made?
Yeah. Well, through the day, the Euskaltel guy and the AG2R guy were the strongest, and really, on the earlier climbs, I was the worst. I was the worst on HC, the category HC. I almost got dropped. But then, I mean, I decided we had a big enough gap, and some there towards the end, I wasn't really working with them too much because there was no reason, because they had proven to be way better than me before. So, you know, it was up to them to try and win. I mean, they all rode really well, and I went a little better on the last climb than I thought I would, and was able to try and win. I mean, a little disappointed that, you know, like, but I mean, it's really great anyway. But you know, I was hoping for more. I was a little upset, but really, I mean, I shouldn't have been upset. I really left it all out there, and I really didn't have anything left. So they just beat me, I guess.
A long breakaway and a great ride. Congratulations, Danny.
Thanks, Robbie. Actually, when he gets over the disappointment of losing the stage, he will realize just what an incredible ride he has done today, Danny Pate. That was a remarkable ride and well done. Well, the situation then, I am hearing that we will be able to speak to Christian van der Velde after we take a break and get him dried down a bit. He's not a great talker, Danny Pate, Paul, but he's so disappointed he could hardly speak there.
Well, you know, getting so close, Phil, to winning a stage of the Tour de France is a very difficult thing to accept. But getting so close to winning a mountain stage is even more difficult, especially for a bike rider like Danny Pate. And when you drag your body over 183 kilometers and until 500 meters to go, he still believed he could win that stage.
For which he led for 174, let's not forget that. These are the boys still finishing. Quarter of an hour has now passed down, which at one time was the breakaway. So they're all coming in.
Jens Voigt, Pipo Pozzato.
Yes, these riders live to fight another day, of course, and they will. Vogandy on the right-hand side.
I'll tell you what is scary, though, Phil, is still that Team CSC. They came out today, and that was why Stuart O'Grady was riding on the front end of the main field. That was why Kurt Adler-Arvidsson rode on the front end of the main field. They were going to throw caution to the wind. And you know what? I still think the day after the rest day, they're going to come out and do exactly the same thing. And they'll do exactly the same thing on the slopes of the Alpe d'Huez as well.
I think when we analyse the stage, it'll be the day Andy Schleck got the yellow jersey for brother Frank.
Absolutely. Andy Schleck is absolutely phenomenal, and I think in a few years' time we could be looking at Andy Schleck. In fact, we could be looking at either of the Schleck brothers as a winner of the Tour de France.
There's so many good guys who can win this Tour de France in the years ahead. Developing so fast, the new breed. Roman Kreuziger, the winner of the Tour of Switzerland, he'll have a fairly high place overall tonight as well, and he's ridden extremely well today. Menchoff tried, cracked, lost a bit of time in the end.
Man who impressed me with his comeback as a climber this afternoon, of course, was Alejandro Valverde. And although he had a bad time going through the Pyrenees, I think now we're going to see an Alejandro Valverde try and push himself up to a top 5 or 6 position at the end of the Tour.
Yes, I still think he's lost the Tour de France, but you're right, he will finish with a very respectable final position overall if he keeps up this sort of form. Well, as we look out across Prato Nevoso, we will take another break. We salute Simon Geraint as well, and we have got Christian van der Velde standing by to talk to us when we come back after the break. We'll also have the podiums, of course, and the overall standings.
We believe we make the world's best bikes.
For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it. For the perfect balance of fuel efficiency and performance, we take energy from exhaust and recycle it, turning repetition into joy. The efficient performance of the Saab Turbo.
Prepare for one of the most explosive UFC cards of the year. As one of the greatest athletes in the sport, welterweight champion George St. Pierre puts his title on the line against 22-2 #1 contender John Fitch. And wrestling powerhouse Brock Lesnar takes on the Texas Crazy Horse Heath Herring. Plus, 2 of the world's best lightweights as Kenny Ken Flo Florian battles Roger El Matador Huerta. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 87, Seek and Destroy. Live Saturday, August 9th from Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Only on pay-per-view.
Loaded steakhouse from Burger King. How'd you earn a burger with baked potato topping?
Just saved that stranded hiker. Carried him 25 clicks on my back.
What about you?
I've been lost for 2 weeks. I'm so hungry.
Are you kidding me? That's it? You arrogant, undeserving sack!
The new Loaded Steakhouse with premium Angus beef. So special, people may think you think you're special.
It basically took me the whole summer. And I don't know how many times I needed to go to AutoZone, but at least now when I go, it's not on my bike.
Tap Out's back, and they're looking for a fight. Rolling cross country, searching for the next MMA badass.
I'm ready to rock!
Tap Out, new season begins July 30th on Versus.
Welcome back to the top of the mountain here in Italy. After 140 miles of racing here, And I must say that for most of those miles, Danny Pate was in that leading group of 4, and what a tremendous ride it was. We've seen a real bike race today, and I'm glad I wasn't part of it.
I'm glad I wasn't part of it, but I'm glad I was watching it, because I have to say, very rarely do you see so many attacks at the front end of the main field. And of course, the attacks on the yellow jersey, Phil, were absolutely incessant.
I don't think there was any gas left in the tank of any of those riders on that climb, and there's still days ahead. Let's have a look back at the whole highlights of how the day went. When the flag came in here, it was raining very heavily down at the start at Embrun. And soon after the start, well, actually just before that flag went in, this man, Cadel Evans, had a flat tyre. Fortunately, he got repaired very quickly. Then it was out to the sprint at Guillest. After 14 kilometres, the break was on. Martinez, Arrieta, Pate in the lead. The breakaway continued to be strengthened then by Simon Gerrans. There were 4 as they approached the Col d'Angel.
It was on the climb that these guys really, Phil, started to really consolidate their advantage. They started to push it up to 30 minutes, 14 minutes, when the damage was being done at the back end of the group, because as they got towards the summit of the climb, a lot of riders, and especially the teams of the sprinters, were being decimated.
Yes, one man on the far right, though, was Stein de Volder. He abandoned the tour, and he was supposed to be a possible winner of it. At the top of the climb, with a lead of 12 minutes, it was Martinez, Arrieta, Gerrans and Pate. Then a very dicey descent. The next man up the climb was, in fact, Voigtler, who tried a little move, but it didn't work. Then there was this horrible crash, because falling from the top road to the bottom road was Oscar Pereiro.
Oscar Pereiro crashed very dramatically there and was taken to hospital with a broken shoulder blade. But on the run in towards the finish, there were even more crashes, and around about 20 riders went down here, with almost all of the Garmin-Chipotle team in it.
Yes, it just started to rain. It made an oil slick of the roundabout. Amongst the fallers there was the former King of the Mountains too, Lang. Robbie Hunter was the other rider involved in that crash, along with Oscar Pereiro. Then on this climb, a little third category climb, they were still pushing on nicely, the leaders. They were knew now they were never going to be caught. The peloton was preoccupied, looking for who would be the next leader of the Tour de France.
But inside of the last 20 or 30 kilometres, Team CSC came to the front and really started to rip up the pace. Starting the final climb of the day, though, Phil, it was hard to figure out who was going to win from the leading group of 4, but Egoy Martinez thought he had the best legs.
Well, they got rid of Arrieta further on, but then while the interest swung to the next race, Carlos Sastre played a card, launched an attack and kept on attacking. Then Menchov took over. Cadel Evans countered, he got back.
Well, Denny Menchov really put the cat amongst the pigeons, and he threw several attacks to try and really split the race up. While at the front, the attack by Egoy Martinez was nullified by the return of Danny Pate. And again, Martinez tried to get off the front, but Pate was finding some incredible legs and dragged himself back up to the Spaniard's wheel, and so too did the Australian Simon Gerrans.
Then look at this crash here, right in the right-hand corner of the picture. Denny Menchov launched what seemed a huge attack, and it just started to rain. His front wheel went, and down he went, and that was an amazing fall. He got back.
What a day for crashes, though, but still getting up to the top of the climb, 3 riders will be trying to fight out the victory of the stage. But one man has to be, for me, man of the match. Andy Schleck was in front, behind, but when he got the bit between the teeth, he put everybody into difficulty.
Including Cadel Evans, who was being battered by everyone here, because Valverde attacked, Kreuziger followed him, Frank Schleck went, Van der Velde went. Cadel Evans had to find an answer.
He certainly did. When they get up to the finish, the big acceleration came from the man in green and white, the man from Australia, Simon Gerrans. He really wanted this victory.
Well, there was no doubt as soon as he left that the side of the 2 riders, there was nobody going to touch him. Every bit of strength he had, victory was his. Simon Gerrans, the 8th Australian ever to win a stage of the Tour de France, and a great win for Crédit Agricole as well.
Brilliant ride there, but behind there was still a lot of scenarios being played out. Bernard Cole all of a sudden felt that he could get himself the yellow jersey, so he took off and accelerated up to the finish line. It was very important to look at the time gaps as he was joined across the line there by Carlos Sastre, but behind, Frank Schleck got himself the 1 second or more that he needed ahead of Cadel Evans. As Cadel Evans came to the line, not only had he lost first place, he'd also lost second place and dropped down into 3rd place in the overall standings.
But it's time that counts, and there's still no time between these boys in this year's Tour de France. They all live to carry on the fight to gain yellow in Paris. Well, that's the race so far. Now we'll go back down. They've all finished, and we've got Robbie Ventura now, and he's talking with Christian Van der Velde.
Days in the Alps down, Christian. Tell us a little bit about the day. How do you feel you performed in a final climb?
I thought I performed great, actually. You know. But no, I was nervous during the during the day. It was horrible weather, raining. I got a cool tattoo. It says it was freezing, then it was hot and humid. It was everything imaginable. So the body was doing weird things and felt hot and cold, and so yeah, it was a successful day. You know, top 10 in the mountain stage and on top finish. I was really nervous today, but yeah, this bodes well for the future for sure.
Being such a great time trialer, you put time on Cadell today, one of your biggest rivals. I mean, it's looking very, very good. How do you plan on attacking these next 2 mountain stages?
Just like today. I mean, today worked, and if we go again like today, then I'll be very happy.
Good ride, Christian.
Yes, well done, Christian. And it was a rough day. The weather did change as good as looking. Let's go to the podium now. The green and white of a French team, but he's very much an Australian cyclist. Simon Gerrans, he was spotted when he was 15 years of age by another famous Australian cyclist, Phil Anderson, who took him under his arm and said, you can ride well one day in the big races in the world. Now he wins a stage of the Tour de France.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Phil Anderson, I think, will be very happy with that victory this afternoon, because he's very closely followed the career of this young man, Simon Gerrans, who gets his 3rd win of the year so far. But I tell you what, this has been the biggest win of his career.
Here's the Honda ATV stage results then. Gerrans 3 seconds ahead of Igor Martinez, 10 over Danny Pate, 55 over Arietta. Then the gap, 4 minutes 3. That's all that remained of the breakaways, often lead of 17 minutes. Bernard Cole in 5th place there. Further down, Sastre gains back a little time, little by little. He's 6th. Valverde gains back, but he needs a lot more. Menchoff in the end slipped a little bit to finish 8th. Frank Schleck is in 9th, and that was important for yellow today. Van der Velde hangs on in there. He's still very much a player in this year's Tour de France.
Looking a little bit further down, Roman Kreuziger is a name for the future. You've got to look down to 13th place to see Cadell Evans coming across the line at 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Andy Schleck 8 seconds further back, but what a great ride by him. And pulling himself back into the race despite getting dropped in the early part of the climb, Kim Kirken comes across the line in 15th.
And there's the final page of the top 20 as it's completed by the oldest man in the race. They're 18th, Stefan Goubert, having his best Tour de France. Let's go back down to the finishing area. Frankie Andreu now with the day's winner, Simon Gerrans.
Simon, congratulations. What a win. Not only a win in the Tour de France, but a mountaintop finish. This has got to be a great way to end a very hard day.
Oh, yeah, it's it couldn't worked out better in the end. I was really struggling at the bottom of the climb, but I did my best to hang on, and once I caught the guys again, I wasn't going to give them a tap until the finish. So, yeah, the perfect way to finish.
It looked like on the climb you were struggling a little bit. You got dropped a couple times. What changed at the end, and all of a sudden you had the legs to finish this off?
Oh, I knew if I got to within a kilometre to go, I could hang on to the finish. I didn't know the climb, so I didn't know how hard it was going to kick up at the finish. Obviously, Martinez and Pate were both climbing better than me, so I just did what I had to do to hang on.
It seems like it worked out perfectly. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He's going to live well tonight. Out to the podium now, the yellow jersey, and it has gone to Frank Schleck, as we suspected. This is a proud moment for Frank and Luxembourg.
Well, it certainly is. Before the start of the Tour de France, we were saying a Luxembourg rider hadn't worn the Tour de France yellow jersey for 50 years. And now this year, 2 men from Luxembourg have been crowned yellow jersey wearers.
Well, CSC, they laid their plans and they worked today. They hammered at Cadell Evans. The result was yellow to Frank. Personally, I think it's good to get the pressure off Cadell Evans, because now he hasn't got the team that Frank Schleck has got. He can look to what the plans are from afar rather than have to defend that heavyweight yellow jersey.
I tell you what, though, Phil, there'll be a lot of riders very scared about having the rest day, then coming out to fight again for 2 more Alpine stages, because Team CSC have looked very scary every time the race has gone uphill.
They won't let him go off the podium here as he keeps on waving at everybody. Let's have a look now at the Michelob Ultra overall standing. Schleck leads. Look at these time gaps. 7 seconds over Bernard Cole, 8 over Cadell Evans, 38 over Menchoff, and 39 over Van der Velde. The top 5 have just closed up. In fact, the top 6 now, the top 5 are 57. Now the top 6 are split by 49 as Sastre comes in 6th.
That is dangerous to see Carlos Sastre popping in like that. Vladimir Efimkin held his place in the top 10, but watch out for Alejandro Valverde, Phil, because he's climbing himself slowly back into this bike race in 9th, and Sammy Sanchez with a great performance today is 10th.
Still a bit of work to do, though. Vincenzo Nibali is in 12th. I think he keeps his white jersey on that performance. Valjevich is 13th. Kreuzinger's closing in on Nibali here for that race for white. And Damiano Koenigan 15th, despite all, but 7 minutes 43 seconds back there. Any more? No, back out to the podium, because this is the new leader of the King of the Mountains now, and he is riding well. Bernard Cole could be the secret weapon for success in this year's Tour in yellow, but he gets polka dot for the moment.
Well, he's lying now, Phil, in only second position, 7 seconds off the lead of Frank Schleck, and he was looking like a real scary climber, which is why I think he's been dubbed the King of the Mountains here this afternoon. Got his points out there, got his points in the Pyrenees, and he, I think, will be a very difficult man to wrest that jersey away from as we stay in the Alps for the next 2 days after the rest day.
And there's the situation in the mountains. 85 for Bernard Cole, 60 for his teammate Sebastian Land, who started in the polka dot today. Igor Martinez climbs into third with his riding today. He's got 50. Gerrans does the same after his climbing today. It was double points on the last climb, don't forget. Frank Schleck comes in as well in 5th place at 46 points. Further down, we've got Arrieta because of today's performance. Voigtler had 27, scored a few. He's up with 39 there. Danny Pate is in now, 8th with 37 points. Sastre and Denis Menchov complete the top 10. Don't forget, it's a day off tomorrow, although we will have a program for you, of course. Let's have a look at the map, Paul, because once we resume from Cuneo down the valley, ouch, big climbs.
There'll be a lot of riders trembling, Phil. We go over the highest pass in Europe, the Cime de la Bonnette Restefort, 2,800 meters. Now check that out. There's a climb before on the way as well, the Col de la Lombard at 2,351 meters. You do not want to miss this bike race because it is going to be a beast.
Yes, it is. Rest day tomorrow, the recap at 8 p.m. East, and then it's onward. Stage 6 from Cuneo to Josier, 98 miles. That will be live Tuesday from 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, the enhanced prime time coverage coming at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be a real tough day. We saw the Tour de France today that didn't open up at all. In fact, it closed down. There are now 6 guys believe they can win this race.
And I tell you what, when they come out and fight, Phil, after the rest day, they will do an incredible battle. It was a great day for the United States because I have to say Danny Pate was phenomenal. Christian van der Velde defended, but I've seen today some of the most great battles I've seen against the yellow jersey, and it ain't over yet.
No, it's not. We wish Oscar Pereiro a quick recovery from his broken shoulder, but at least he wasn't badly injured in what was a terribly looking crash. And what about this one here? A pack of cards on both sides of the roads. All of the Garmin-Chipotle team down in that crash. Menchov down, but in this case not out. Christian van der Velde still flies the colours. Simon Gerrans is the boy today. Versus.com is where you go for all of our information on the Tour de France. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Goodbye.